The battlefield burned red beneath two suns. Smoke rose from shattered tanks and broken ships. Human soldiers fought beside the tall, silver-skinned Zephyrians, but the alliance was fragile, made only from fear of a darker enemy. Captain Raiden Cross ran through the dust with his rifle humming. His unit had orders to guard the Zephyrian royal envoy, but the enemy moved faster than anyone expected. In the chaos, bright plasma bolts crossed the air like shooting stars. Through the haze, Raiden saw her, Princess Lyra, daughter of the Zephyrian High King. Her crystal armor glowed faint blue, her eyes like stormlight. She stood alone beside a broken shield drone, aiming a weapon too heavy for her hands. Then he saw it. A cloaked enemy leapt from the smoke, blade shining with green fire. It aimed straight for the princess's heart. Raiden didn't think. He threw away his gun and sprinted. The world slowed. The roar of explosions faded. He slammed into her, pushing her aside as the blade cut deep into his chest. Pain exploded through his body. He fell to the ground, gasping. Lyra's guards turned their weapons and vaporized the assassin, but Raiden already lay in a pool of red dust. His armor systems failed. His vision blurred. "Why?" she whispered, kneeling beside him. "Why would a human die for me?" He tried to speak, but only blood came out. The air grew cold around them. Lyra's hands trembled. She closed her eyes and spoke ancient words. A circle of light rose beneath them, symbols older than her world. Her guards shouted in fear, "Princess!" "The life debt ritual, it's forbidden." She didn't stop. Her voice echoed, calm and strong. "He gave his life for mine. By the oath of the first bond, I return his breath." Light poured from her chest into his. Raiden felt fire run through his veins. His heart stopped, then beat again. The pain vanished. His eyes opened to see Lyra glowing, tears falling down her cheeks. The soldiers stepped back in silence. None had ever seen the sacred ritual performed on an outsider. When the light faded, Lyra fell forward, weak. Raiden caught her before she hit the ground. "What did you do?" he asked, his voice shaking. "I saved you," she whispered. "Now your life is tied to mine." He looked at his hands. They pulsed with faint blue light, her light. Before he could understand, a deep tremor rolled across the field. The Zephyrian warships descended, engines howling. A guard pulled him away, shouting, "You don't know what she's done." "The bond cannot be undone." Raiden tried to reach her, but she was carried toward the royal shuttle. He felt something strange inside, her heartbeat, her fear, her pain. It was like she lived within him. As the ship lifted into the sky, his radio crackled with human command voices. "Captain Cross, report." "What happened out there?" He stared upward, his voice low. "She saved me. Or maybe cursed me." And in that moment, a single thought struck him harder than the blade. If her life and his were now bound, what would happen if one of them died again? Soft blue lights floated above him like stars under glass. Captain Raiden Cross woke to the hum of alien machines. His chest no longer burned, his wounds were gone. But something inside him felt wrong. Different. He sat up fast. His hands glowed faintly, a shimmer moving through his veins. The room was unlike any human hospital. Curved walls, silver floors, air so clean it almost hurt to breathe. A tall Zephyrian guard stepped forward. "You live," the alien said coldly. "The princess demands your presence." Raiden blinked. "The princess? Where am I?" "You stand aboard the Aurelian, royal flagship of the Zephyrian Empire. Do not speak until spoken to." The doors opened, and bright light spilled into the room. Princess Lyra stood there, alive, though pale, her armor replaced by flowing crystal robes. When Raiden looked at her, a strange warmth filled his chest. It wasn't his emotion, it was hers. He could feel her calm, her sadness, even her fear. "What did you do to me?" he asked quietly. Lyra hesitated. "I repaid your sacrifice. My world holds an ancient law, the oath of the life debt. When a life is freely given, it must be returned in full." He frowned. "In full? What does that mean?" "It means," she said softly, "your life and mine are now connected. If you are hurt, I will feel it. If I die, you die too." Raiden's pulse jumped. "That's insane. I didn't ask for this." "No," she said, turning away. "But you earned it. The bond cannot be undone, not by any mortal hand." As she spoke, a deep voice thundered through the chamber. "Princess Lyra!" Everyone bowed. The tall, silver-skinned figure of King Seraphon, her father, entered with royal guards surrounding him. His eyes were cold like winter moons. "Which human have you bound yourself to?" the king demanded. Lyra stepped forward. "He saved my life, father." "The law of the ancients demanded I restore his." The king's voice shook the air. "You performed the life debt on a human? You've cursed our bloodline." Raiden stood up, defiant. "I didn't ask for any of this. I just did my duty." The king's gaze fell on him, sharp as a blade. "Duty or not, the bond cannot exist. It breaks our sacred order. The connection between you must end, even if one must die." Lyra gasped. "No, you can't." But the king raised his hand. "Guards, confine the human. Prepare the ritual chamber. We will purify the bond before sunrise." Two guards grabbed Raiden by the arms. His heart raced. He looked at Lyra and felt her fear rise inside him like fire. "Don't let them." Her voice echoed inside his mind, not through sound, but through thought. He froze. Did I just hear her? "Raiden," her voice came again, soft inside his head. "We are linked now. I can reach your mind through the bond." He struggled against the guards. "You don't have to do this," he shouted, but the king had already turned away. They dragged him down long corridors of shining metal and strange symbols. The ship hummed around him like it was alive. He caught glimpses of other aliens staring at him, whispering. A human on the royal vessel was unheard of. The guards threw him into a glass cell. Blue light surrounded it like a prison made of air. Hours passed. He tried to sleep, but every time he closed his eyes, he saw flashes. Memories that weren't his. A tall tower beneath twin moons. Lyra as a child crying before a burning temple. A voice saying, "The one who carries the bond shall carry the doom of worlds." He woke with a jolt. What the hell is happening to me? From beyond the barrier, Lyra appeared, cloaked in shadow. She pressed her hand to the glass. "I can feel your fear. The bond is growing stronger." Raiden stood, heart pounding. "Then break it." "Your father wants to kill me?" She looked down. "I can't. The more we try to break it, the deeper it grows. There's only one way to end it. Through the trial of blood." "What's that supposed to mean?" "Only the gods know," she said. "But every legend says the bond demands a price. Always." The ship suddenly shuddered. Red alarms flared. A Zephyrian officer's voice echoed over the speakers. "Enemy fleet incoming." Unknown signature, closing fast. Raiden felt a pulse inside his chest, a spark of panic, but it wasn't his. It was hers. Lyra looked up, eyes wide. "They've found us." "Who?" "The ones who wanted me dead," she whispered. "The ones who know about the prophecy." Raiden stepped forward. "Then let me fight." She shook her head. "You can't. If you die, I die too." "Then we fight together," he said. Before she could answer, a blast hit the ship. The lights flickered. The guards ran past them shouting orders, and as the alarms wailed, Raiden looked at her and said, "Looks like the bond just got worse." The camera would zoom in on his glowing hands, and for a brief second, her heartbeat echoes in his chest. The Zephyrian flagship Aurelian shook under enemy fire. Sirens screamed through the corridors as crew members rushed to defense stations. Outside the window, explosions bloomed like dying stars. Captain Raiden Cross gripped the cold metal bars of his cell. "You said they're here for you," he shouted as smoke filled the hallway. "Who are they?" Princess Lyra stood just beyond the glowing barrier, her silver eyes dim with fear. "The Obsidian Order," she whispered, "ancient hunters of the royal bloodline. They believe my bond with you breaks the balance of their prophecy." A blast rocked the ship again, cutting the power. The barrier flickered. Without hesitation, Raiden kicked it once, twice, and the shimmering wall vanished. He stepped out, rubbing his wrists. Lyra stared at him. "You shouldn't have done that." "If my father—" "Your father wants me dead anyway," he said sharply. "If I die, you die. So right now, we're on the same side." She hesitated, then nodded. "Follow me." They ran through the smoke-filled corridors, the floor trembling beneath them. Zephyrian soldiers lay wounded, their blue armor cracked, plasma leaking like light. Raiden grabbed a fallen weapon. Slender, elegant, but powerful in his human hands. As they turned a corner, he suddenly froze. His heart pounded, but not from running. A wave of fear hit him, deep and cold. He looked at Lyra. "That wasn't mine, was it?" She shook her head slowly. "No, you're feeling me. The bond grows stronger in danger." "Great," he muttered. "Now I get double the panic." They reached a lift chamber. The doors hissed open, revealing a view of space, and the enemy fleet surrounding them. Black ships with glowing red cores moved in formation, firing plasma arcs. Lyra pressed her palm against a control crystal. Deck 9. Escape pods. As the lift descended, she said softly, "You don't understand what you've done, Raiden. By saving me, you didn't just save a life. You changed a prophecy." He frowned. "Prophecy?" Her voice lowered. "Long ago, the Zephyrian seers spoke of a human star-born warrior who would take the pain of our royal blood and unite two dying races. But they also said his bond would bring destruction if not broken." "Sounds like a bad ending," Raiden muttered. She looked at him. "Or a beginning." Before he could reply, the lift stopped with a violent jolt. The doors slid open and 3 black-armored assassins stood waiting, their weapons drawn. Raiden reacted instantly. He raised the alien gun, firing a bolt that tore through the first attacker. Lyra's energy shield flared as she blocked the second strike. The third assassin lunged with a curved blade, catching Raiden off guard. The blade sliced across his arm. Pain burned through him, but at the same moment Lyra screamed, clutching her arm too. He looked down. They were bleeding in the same place. "The bond," she cried. "Every wound you take, I feel it." Raiden gritted his teeth, blocking the next attack. "Then let's make it quick." He ducked, spun, and drove the alien blade straight through the attacker's chest. The assassin fell with a hiss of dark smoke. Lyra stared at him, breathing hard. "You fight like one of us." "I fight like someone who doesn't want to die," he said, shaking off the blood. They rushed down the hall. The ship trembled again. Something massive hit the side. Outside, through a viewing port, Raiden saw the Obsidian flagship docking with the Aurelian like a parasite. Lyra stopped suddenly. Her pupils flared white, and her body went rigid. "They've boarded. They're after my father now." Raiden grabbed her shoulders. "Then we get him out." "No," she said. "He would never flee. He will die defending his throne." He saw it then, a single tear on her cheek, glowing faintly blue. He felt her sadness echo in his own chest, heavy and real. "Lyra, I can feel what you feel." "Yes," she whispered. "That is the curse of the bond. You see what I see, feel what I feel. Even what I hide." Raiden opened his mouth to reply, but suddenly his vision blurred. The walls melted into light. He wasn't on the ship anymore. He stood on a massive platform beneath a purple sky, surrounded by ancient Zephyrian temples. In front of him was a burning sigil, the same mark from the ritual. Voices whispered around him in a language older than time. Then he saw her, Lyra, but older, wearing a crown of light, standing beside a throne of bones. She turned to him, eyes full of sorrow. "If you do not break the bond, both worlds will burn." The vision vanished. Raiden gasped and stumbled back into the corridor. Lyra held him, eyes wide. "You saw something, didn't you?" He nodded slowly. "A memory. Or a warning." Her voice trembled. "Then the bond is no longer just between us. It's awakening something ancient." Another explosion ripped through the deck. The hallway split open to the stars. Raiden grabbed Lyra, pulling her into a maintenance hatch as the air roared past. They crashed into darkness, gasping for breath. The sound of distant battle echoed through the metal walls. Lyra whispered, "The bond has chosen us, Raiden. But the galaxy won't let it live." He stared at her, heartbeat syncing with hers, and said, "Then they'll have to kill us both to stop it." A cold wind swept through the vents, and somewhere deep inside the ship, something old began to awaken. Metal groaned as the Zephyrian flagship Aurelian drifted through the black sea of space. Smoke and fire glowed against its hull, like a dying star struggling to breathe. Captain Raiden Cross and Princess Lyra crawled out from a maintenance hatch, covered in dust and blood. The battle outside had ended, but not in victory. The Obsidian Order had vanished, leaving the ship half destroyed and hundreds dead. Inside the silent corridors, alarms still flashed. Raiden looked around. "Where's everyone?" Lyra's voice was faint. "Evacuated to the lower decks. My father ordered a lockdown before the attackers retreated." Raiden touched his chest. He could still feel her heartbeat inside him, faint but steady. "And what about him?" "The king?" She didn't answer. Instead, she stared at the floor. He survived. "But he blames you for everything." Raiden frowned. "Me? I was the one fighting to protect you." Lyra shook her head. "He believes the Obsidian Order attacked because of the bond. He says your presence is a curse on our bloodline." Before Raiden could reply, a soft hum filled the corridor. A security drone appeared, scanning them with a red beam. "Unauthorized life form detected. Human signature confirmed. Orders, capture alive. Raiden cursed under his breath. Guess that confirms it. He grabbed Lyra's hand, pulling her behind him as he fired at the drone. The alien weapon blasted blue plasma, shattering the machine in a burst of sparks. But more drones appeared from every side, their lights glowing brighter. Lyra raised her hand, summoning a barrier of silver energy that shielded them. "This way," she shouted. They ran down the hall toward a narrow passage that led to the royal wing. When they entered, the doors sealed shut behind them. The air here was colder, the light dimmer, like the place itself didn't want them there. At the far end of the chamber stood King Seraphon, tall and still, with 2 royal guards at his side. His armor was cracked, but his eyes were sharp as blades. "Father," Lyra began, but he raised a hand. "You bring the human here, after all that's happened." His voice was thunder in the silence. "He has brought war to our doorstep. You have tied our royal blood to a creature of chaos." Raiden took a step forward. "With all respect, Your Majesty, I didn't choose this bond." "And yet you live because of it," the king replied coldly. "You share the power of our ancestors, something no human was ever meant to touch." Lyra's voice trembled. "The bond is not evil, Father. It saved us both." "Enough." Seraphon's eyes burned with anger. "The bond must be severed before it destroys us all." He turned to his guards. "Prepare the purification. Tonight, we end this madness." 2 guards moved toward Raiden, weapons drawn. Lyra stepped in front of him. "You'll have to go through me first." Her father froze. For a moment, the fire in his eyes turned to disbelief. "You would stand against your bloodline for him?" "I stand for what is right," she said softly. The king's face hardened. "Then you are no daughter of mine." He motioned, and the guards attacked. Raiden blocked one strike, grabbing the guard's wrist and twisting it until the weapon clattered to the floor. The second swung at Lyra, but she countered with a flash of psychic energy that threw the soldier against the wall. The king's voice thundered again. "You cannot fight the laws of the ancients." Raiden shouted back, "Then your laws are killing your own." The chamber shook suddenly, a tremor rolling through the ship. A shadow passed over the windows. From outside, a massive obsidian vessel loomed closer, blacker than the void, glowing with blood-red light. Lyra turned to her father. "They're back!" The king's expression shifted from rage to dread. No, they were never gone. Before he could say more, one of the guards, still on the floor, raised his weapon and fired. The bolt hit the king's chest. "Father!" Lyra screamed. The guard's disguise shimmered, revealing black armor beneath. An obsidian assassin. Raiden fired instantly, hitting the assassin in the shoulder. The alien stumbled, blood hissing into smoke. The king collapsed, gasping. Lyra knelt beside him, tears glowing on her face. "Stay with me." He looked at her weakly. "You must protect the bond. It's the key to everything." His hand fell limp. The assassin laughed weakly, voice distorted. "You don't understand, princess. The bond will kill you both. It was never meant to exist." Raiden knelt beside him, grabbing his collar. "Who sent you?" The assassin coughed, eyes fading. "The one who wants the prophecy fulfilled. The first blood must awaken." Then he went still. Lyra stared at the floor. "They were right inside our palace. All along." Raiden looked at her. "Someone betrayed you." She nodded slowly, eyes cold. "Someone close to me." Outside, the shadow of the obsidian flagship grew larger. Alarms screamed again. The ship's lights flickered red. Raiden helped Lyra stand. "We can't stay here. Whoever betrayed you will come back to finish the job." She looked at her father's body one last time. "Then we'll find them," she said quietly. "And when we do, we'll learn why they fear the bond so much." The camera would pull back, showing the burning ship drifting toward the dark planet below, its shadow falling across a world that had just lost its king. The Zephyrian flagship Aurelian floated like a wounded beast above the dark planet. King Seraphon was dead. The alliance between humans and Zephyrians trembled on the edge of collapse. Captain Raiden Cross and Princess Lyra hid inside a broken hangar, surrounded by flickering lights and smoke. Raiden tightened a strip of cloth around his injured arm. "Your own guard tried to kill you," he said quietly. "Someone inside helped them." Lyra's eyes glowed faintly blue in the darkness. "Yes, the Obsidian Order couldn't reach the king without help. That means a traitor sits inside the Royal Council." He looked toward the viewport. Outside, the planet below was covered in red storms. "What now?" "We return to my world," she said. We face the council. And you, Raiden Cross, must stand trial. He frowned. Trial? For what? For the bond, she answered. They will call it a crime against our gods. 2 days later, the damaged Aurelian descended through the clouds of Zephyra Prime, a world of shining towers and crystal seas. Crowds filled the capital streets, whispering as the royal ship landed. News of the king's death had spread faster than light. Lyra walked down the ramp with Raiden beside her. Guards surrounded them, weapons ready but uncertain. Every eye watched the human, the one tied by soul to their princess. Inside the Hall of Eternity, 1,000 alien voices echoed. The Council of Elders waited beneath a glowing dome. At the center stood the Seat of Judgment, a circle of light surrounded by hovering shards of silver crystal. Elder Terran, an ancient Zephyrian with skin like moonstone, spoke first. Princess Lyra, daughter of Seraphon, you stand before us accused of binding royal blood to a human. Do you deny it? Lyra raised her chin. I do not deny it. He saved my life. I repaid that debt as our law commands. Murmurs rippled through the hall. Terran's eyes turned to Raiden. Human soldier, do you understand what your existence means? The bond gives you power over our royal line. That is forbidden. Raiden stepped forward. I never wanted power. I just wanted to keep her alive. The elder's voice hardened. The law demands balance. If the bond cannot be broken, then one life must pay for the other. The trial of blood will decide whose. The room fell silent. Lyra whispered, No, please. But the crystals around them began to glow, drawing blood from her palm and his. The drops floated in the air, merging into a single sphere of light. The trial begins, Terran said. When the sphere chooses, one heart shall stop. The awakening, the light between them pulsed like a living heart. Raiden felt heat crawl through his veins. Memories not his own flashed before his eyes. Ancient Zephyrians fighting under twin suns. A great war, a curse sealed in the stars. He gasped. I see them. Your ancestors. They made this bond a weapon. Lyra clutched her head. It's showing me your world. Your battles, your pain. Their bloodlines collided in the sphere, bright as lightning. The crowd gasped as the floor cracked beneath their feet. The bond is awakening, Terran shouted. Contain it! Guards rushed forward, but the energy threw them back. The sphere rose higher, splitting into two halves, one red, one blue, circling each other like twin stars. Lyra's voice broke. Raiden, if one of us dies, the bond ends. You have to let it choose me. He shook his head. No, I've already seen too many die. Not you. The light flared. The council hall shook. Pillars crumbled. From within the blinding glow, a deep voice echoed. Not human, not Zephyrian, something older. The debt of life is never free. Blood calls to blood. The curse must feed. Raiden dropped to his knees, pain tearing through his chest. Lyra screamed, feeling the same agony through the link. Guards dragged her back, but the energy snapped their armor apart. Stop, she cried. He'll die. Terran lifted his staff. Then let the gods decide. He slammed the staff into the ground, and the sphere exploded into a rain of light. The verdict. When the dust cleared, Raiden lay motionless on the floor. Lyra crawled to him, tears glowing on her face. Please, she whispered. Don't leave me. Then his eyes opened, burning bright blue. Gasps filled the hall. The elder staggered back. Impossible. The bond transferred the royal essence. To the human! Raiden stood slowly, his voice echoing with something new, ancient, powerful. The trial chose. I carry her life now. Lyra reached for him. What does that mean? He looked at her with pain in his eyes. It means if I die, you'll live. The bond reversed. The council erupted in chaos. Some bowed, others shouted in fear. Elder Terran raised his staff again. Then he is no longer human. He is the vessel of prophecy, the cursed heir. Guards aimed their weapons. Raiden pulled Lyra close. We need to run, now. The floor cracked again as energy surged around him. His eyes glowed brighter. He could feel power. Hers, coursing through his blood. They sprinted through the broken chamber as blasts of plasma tore past them. Lyra reached out, creating a shield of silver light that deflected the attacks. Behind them, Terran's voice roared. He carries the doom of worlds! Stop them! Raiden and Lyra burst out onto a landing platform as ships lifted off into the stormy sky. She turned to him, tears mixing with rain. The prophecy is true. You're the one they feared. He looked at his glowing hands. Then maybe it's time they started fearing the right person. Lightning flashed above them as they leapt into a stolen cruiser and vanished into the clouds. Hunted, bound, and more dangerous than ever. The stolen cruiser tore through the clouds of Zephyra Prime. Engines screaming, lightning chased it like hungry beasts. Inside the cockpit, Captain Raiden Cross gripped the controls, his hands glowing faint blue. Each time the light pulsed, he felt Lyra's heartbeat echo in his chest. Princess Lyra sat beside him, silent, staring at the storm. "We've become outlaws," she whispered. "My own people will hunt us now." Raiden gave a bitter smile. "Welcome to humanity." The ship trembled. A red alarm flashed. "They've locked on," Raiden said. "2 Royal Interceptors behind us." Lyra closed her eyes. "Let me try something." She placed her palm against the control crystal. Energy flowed from her hand into the ship, and suddenly the engines roared louder, faster. The cruiser shot forward, leaving the interceptors behind. Raiden stared. "How did you—" "The bond shares my power," she said quietly. "You carry half of it now." He looked down at his glowing fingers. "Feels more like it's carrying me." Crash on the Forbidden World. Hours later, the cruiser broke atmosphere above a dark, uncharted planet. Ilaris, a world forgotten by both humans and Zephyrians. The storm grew worse. Lightning hit one of the engines. The ship spiraled down. "Brace yourself," Raiden shouted. The cruiser crashed through black trees and skidded across glowing sand, finally stopping at the edge of a crystal canyon. Sparks filled the air. They crawled out, coughing. Above them, twin moons burned silver. The planet was silent, too silent. Lyra placed her hand on the ground. "This world is ancient. I can feel the echo of the first bond here." Raiden frowned. "The first bond?" She nodded. "The first joining of 2 souls. The gods created it to unite species, but it became a curse when mortals abused its power." He sighed. "Great. So we're standing on the place where it all went wrong." A low hum vibrated through the air, like the planet itself was listening. Echoes of the past. They built a small fire near the wreckage. Raiden tried to fix a transmitter, but every time he touched it, it flickered with blue light and died. Lyra watched him. "The bond is changing you. Look." He glanced at his reflection in a shard of glass. His eyes shimmered faint blue, like hers. Veins of light pulsed under his skin. "I'm not human anymore," he said quietly. She moved closer. "You're both, human and Zephyrian. The bond is rewriting you." Raiden clenched his fists. "And if it keeps going?" She hesitated. "Then one of us will disappear." "The bond doesn't share, it consumes." The wind howled. A faint whisper carried through it, words in an ancient Zephyrian tongue. Lyra froze. "What is it?" "It's calling us," she said. "The temple of the first bond. It lies beyond that canyon." He grabbed his blaster. "Then we go there. Maybe it knows how to stop this thing before it eats us alive." The temple. They followed the glowing sand into the canyon. Strange symbols shimmered on the cliffs, markings that pulsed when Lyra passed by. At the center stood a massive gate carved from black stone, half buried in dust. The air around it vibrated with power. Lyra placed her hand on the door. "This is it. The gods sealed it long ago." The gate slowly opened, revealing a vast chamber lit by floating crystals. Statues of long-dead Zephyrians lined the walls, each holding a glowing orb. At the far end, a circular platform shimmered with blue fire. Raiden whispered, "Feels like walking into a heartbeat." Lyra nodded. "That's exactly what it is, the heart of the bond." They stepped onto the platform. Instantly the fire rose around them, swirling like living light. Voices filled the air, blood joined by choice, 2 hearts beating as one. "One must pay the price," Raiden shouted. "What price?"
"Tell us how to end this!"
The voices answered. "End? There is no end. Only balance. The bond demands a life." Lyra's eyes filled with tears. "It means one of us must die to free the other." Raiden stepped back, shaking his head. "No, there has to be another way." "There is no other way." The light gathered into a figure, a creature of energy and shadow, wearing ancient Zephyrian armor. Its face was hidden behind a golden mask. It spoke in a deep, echoing tone. "Human of the stars, you carry the blood of prophecy. You are the vessel. The bond feeds on you because you were chosen." Raiden lifted his blaster. "Chosen for what? To awaken the balance or to destroy it?" The creature raised its hand and the floor cracked. Blue fire shot upward, surrounding them. Lyra screamed as pain rippled through her body. Raiden felt it too, every cut, every tear. He dropped his weapon, grabbing her hands. "Stay with me." The creature watched silently. "The more you resist, the stronger the curse becomes. Choose soon, or the bond will consume both your worlds." Then it vanished, leaving only silence. The realization Raiden and Lyra collapsed on the floor, gasping. Their bodies glowed faintly in the dark. He looked at her, voice rough. "It's true then. One of us has to die." She touched his face gently. "I won't let it be you. I started this." He shook his head. "No, you saved me. Now I save you." Their lights pulsed together, merging for a moment before fading. Lyra whispered, "We still have time. Somewhere on this world lies the altar of release. It can break the bond, but only if we find it before the next sunrise." The twin moons of Alaris sank behind the horizon as Raiden Cross and Princess Lyra crossed the glowing desert. Their footsteps left trails of blue fire. Each time Raiden's heart beat, Lyra felt it in her chest. The bond was growing stronger, almost alive. "Your energy's fading," Raiden said softly. "I can manage." She lied, but her skin already flickered with dim light. He stopped, catching her arm. "Lyra, if this continues, you'll burn out." She smiled faintly. "Then we must reach the altar of release before dawn. It's the only way to break the bond and save you." He shook his head. "Save us." The path of echoes, they entered a canyon carved with glowing symbols. Each wall shimmered with moving shadows, memories of the past. Ancient Zephyrians walked beside ghostly humans, their faces lost to time. Lyra touched one of the carvings. "This place remembers everyone who ever bore the bond." Raiden stared at the figures. "Then we're not the first to fight it." "No," she said, "but maybe we'll be the last." A cold wind rose, whispering words neither of them understood. At the canyon's end stood a stone bridge over a chasm filled with swirling blue mist. Beyond it waited the altar of release, a small platform glowing like a star. Raiden frowned. "Looks too easy." Lyra nodded. "Nothing made by the gods is easy." The guardian halfway across the bridge, the mist below moved. A shape rose, massive, winged, half energy and half metal. Its eyes burned golden. Raiden raised his weapon, but Lyra stopped him. "It's the guardian of the altar. It tests the heart of those who come." The creature spoke, its voice like thunder. "One soul must give, one must take. Speak your truth, or both shall fall." Raiden shouted, "We don't want to take anything. We just want to live." "Life demands balance," the guardian replied. "Will you trade your breath for hers?" Lyra stepped forward, tears in her eyes. "Yes, I will." Raiden turned to her, shocked. "Lyra." The guardian's eyes glowed brighter. "Then your fate is sealed." A beam of light shot toward her, but Raiden pushed her aside. The beam hit him instead, throwing him across the bridge. He screamed as blue energy crackled through his body, burning veins of light across his skin. Lyra crawled toward him, crying out, "Raiden, stop fighting it." "I can't. It's inside me." He fell to his knees, light pouring from his chest. The guardian lowered its head. "He has chosen," but Lyra rose defiant. "No, he chose to save me once. I will not let him die for me again." She pressed both hands against his heart, and her own light surged through him. The guardian's eyes widened. Two hearts share one flame. Such defiance has not been seen since the first bond. Lightning erupted around them. The bridge began to crumble. "Lyra!" Raiden shouted. "You'll kill yourself!" She smiled weakly. "Then we die together." The guardian's wings spread wide, shielding them from falling debris. Its voice softened. "You have passed the trial. The altar awaits." Then the creature faded into mist, leaving only silence and the crackle of fading light. The altar of release. They stumbled onto the glowing platform. A circle of runes surrounded a crystal heart floating above the stone. Lyra touched it gently. "This is the core of the bond." The crystal pulsed once, echoing their combined heartbeats. A voice, softer now, filled the air. "Choose. One life to give, one to keep." Lyra looked at Raiden. "There's no other way. If I give my life, you'll live free." Raiden shook his head. I'd rather die with you than live without you. They stood in silence, blue light dancing around them. Finally, Lyra whispered, "Then we choose together." She took his hands and placed them over the crystal. Their lights merged into one blinding beam. Two hearts united. The bond will not end. It will evolve. The crystal shattered, releasing a wave of energy that swept across the canyon. The transformation. When the light faded, the desert was silent again. Raiden looked down at his hands. The glow was gone. He turned to Lyra. "Did it work?" She smiled faintly. "Yes, but not how we thought." Her eyes now shone a deeper blue, and faint veins of human color ran across her skin. "You gave me your humanity," she whispered, "and I gave you my essence. We are no longer separate." Raiden touched his chest. His heartbeat matched hers perfectly. So the bond didn't die. It became us. Before she could reply, the sky rumbled. A royal warship broke through the clouds. The Zephyrian crest burned on its hull. "They found us," Raiden muttered. Lyra's voice trembled. "If they see what we've become, they'll destroy us both." Raiden picked up his blaster, staring at the incoming lights. "Then let's make sure they remember who we are." The warship descended, engines shaking the ground. Lyra's hand slid into his. "Together?" she asked. "Always," he said. As the dust rose and shadows swallowed the horizon, two figures stood side by side, no longer human, no longer alien. Something new, something feared, something destined. The desert of Alaris trembled beneath the roar of descending warships. Blue dust spiraled into the air as Zephyrian cruisers formed a burning circle around the canyon. Their lights painted the ruins like fire. On the highest ridge stood Captain Raiden Cross and Princess Lyra, two figures glowing faintly in the stormlight. They were no longer what they once were, human and alien, soldier and princess, now fused by the bond that defied gods themselves. Lyra looked at the sky, voice trembling. "They won't let us live, Raiden. To them, we're an abomination." Raiden's eyes glowed with quiet fire. "Then we'll show them what an abomination can do." He gripped his weapon, but it was more than a weapon now. Blue energy crawled along its barrel, humming with the same rhythm as his heartbeat. The arrival from the lead ship descended Elder Terran, cloaked in silver armor, his staff glowing like a star. Behind him marched soldiers, Zephyrian elites, their armor alive with light. "Princess Lyra of House Seraphon," the elder's voice thundered. "You have broken divine law. The bond has corrupted both bloodlines. Surrender the human, and perhaps your death will be merciful." Lyra stepped forward, chin high. "You speak of mercy, yet your laws killed my father. The bond didn't corrupt me, it freed me." Terran's eyes narrowed. "Then you leave us no choice." He raised his staff. The ground split open. Chains of blue light shot toward them. Raiden moved instantly, energy bursting from his hands. The chains shattered like glass. Every soldier froze. The air crackled around the human. Terran hissed. "He carries the essence of a god." Raiden's voice was calm but deadly. "No, just the will to protect the only person who ever saw me as more than a weapon." The Battle of Alaris. The sky exploded into war. Beams of energy cut through the night. Raiden charged forward, each step shaking the sand. His body shimmered with blinding blue light, his movements faster than thought. Lyra raised her hands, summoning shields of crystal energy that deflected plasma fire. Everywhere she looked, Zephyrian. Soldiers fell, not dead, but stunned, their weapons torn apart by the force of the bond. Elder Terran floated above the battlefield, his voice echoing like thunder. "You dare defy the gods themselves?" Raiden looked up. "The gods never fought beside you. We did." He leapt high, landing on a fallen warship. His hand glowed brighter, and with one strike he shattered Terran's staff. The explosion of light threw everyone backward. When the dust cleared, Terran lay broken but alive. His armor cracked, his voice weak. "You cannot escape the bond's curse. It will consume both worlds." Lyra walked to him slowly. "Maybe it will change them instead." The choice. The ground beneath them pulsed with energy. The temple of the first bond, hidden below the desert, began to awaken. A massive beam of blue light rose from the sands, connecting sky and ground. Lyra gasped. The bond's power. It's releasing. Raiden felt it too, a heartbeat inside the planet, matching theirs. Terran whispered, "The prophecy. The bond reborn will either save the stars or burn them." Raiden looked at Lyra. "We decide which one it becomes." He took her hand, pulling her close. "If we let the bond flow through us, maybe it can end this war for good." She nodded, eyes wet. "And if it kills us?" He smiled softly. "Then at least we go together." They stepped into the beam. The light beyond the world vanished in white fire. Images flooded their minds. Every soul ever bound, every life ever lost to the bond. They saw humans and Zephyrians working together, dying together, living together. Lyra whispered, "It's showing us what we can be." Raiden's voice broke through the light. "Then let's give them that future." Their hands tightened. The light exploded outward, sweeping across the battlefield, across the ships, across the entire planet. Every Zephyrian soldier dropped their weapons, eyes glowing faintly blue. Every human in orbit felt warmth surge through their hearts. The bond didn't consume the worlds. It united them. When the light faded, the warships floated silent above a new dawn. The skies of Zephyra and the deserts of Alaris shimmered with shared energy. Two races that once feared each other now felt a single heartbeat pulsing in the stars. Raiden and Lyra lay in the sand, weak but alive. He turned his head. "We did it." She smiled faintly. The bond didn't end. It became peace. He brushed dust from her face. "And you?" Her eyes glowed softly. "Still here. Always." Above them, a new constellation appeared. Two stars circling each other, bound by a thread of blue light. The galaxy would remember that night. The night a human soldier and an alien princess defied gods, changed destiny, and proved that love, sacrifice, and courage could rewrite the laws of the universe.